Okay, quiet. We're rolling. Seeing her coming out of the darkness like a ghost ship still gets me every time. To see the sad ruin of the great ship sitting here, where she landed at 2:30 in the morning of April 15th, 1912, after her long fall from the world above.
You're so full of shit, boss.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of The Boot.
A title that will make no more sense to you later than it does right now.
No.
So that's fine.
This is a podcast about movie reboots. I'm Brian Flynn. I'm with Kenna Trent.
That's me.
Kenna, how you doing?
You know, had a pretty good day.
Yeah?
Wearing my Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
I
That
can
always
see.
gives me a little bit of confidence boost.
Zhuzh?
Yeah. I never feel better than when I'm wearing Nick Carter. I'll say that.
Oh, all right. Good to know. Kenna, why don't you explain what we're doing here today?
Okay, so what we're going to do today, and maybe again, we'll see how this goes.
We'll see. Who knows?
Let's not get too confident.
You know what? We could be on a ship, and that ship could sink.
What?
What a great segue.
Okay, so as you might have guessed from what Brian just said, our first movie reboot, potential movie reboot that we're talking about is Titanic.
That's right.
Which is massive because it's 3 hours long.
How many Oscars did it win? 12, right? It swept.
I think 11.
1997, correct? James Cameron's epic magnum opus Titanic, starring Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. Now, we wanted to do this because it feels like every sort of 3 months, a movie or a classic piece of film is being rebooted to another movie or a TV show, and they're constantly recasting. And kind of you and I were talking a couple weeks ago, and we just started talking about this, and we're kind of deep dive into this movie.
Yeah.
But we're going to do other movies down the line. We don't want to spoil any of those.
No.
What are the rules? There's got to be rules.
Yeah, there have to be rules. I mean, we impose that upon ourselves,
right?
So there has to be rules. Okay, so rule number 1 is that we will not do any remakes, reboots, or any sort of long-lost sequels. So we can't do a movie that has already been remade in the last 20 years. So that includes franchises like Star Wars that sort of pop up every once in a while with like extra sequels.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's been remade a million times. We're not going to do that. I mean, I'm sure we're going to break that rule somehow, some way, but, you know.
Well, the thing is,
we made it, so.
We could do this podcast, and within 2 weeks or however long until this comes out, someone could be like, hey, they're remaking Titanic. Oh, I did remember today, because we were talking about what we were going to talk about in the world of remakes and reboots.
Yes.
The Lord of the Rings television show has got a multi-season commitment.
Yes. There's going to be so many hours of Lord of the Rings in the world. But it's a prequel, right? Like, we aren't going to see necessarily the same characters.
So this is from Deadline.
Okay, what does it say? Maybe nothing important.
Amazon sets the Lord of the Rings TV series in mega deal with multi-season commitment. In its quest to launch a hit fantasy series of the Game of Thrones caliber, Amazon has closed a massive deal, said to be close to $250 million to acquire the global TV rights to Lord of the Rings, based on the fantasy novels by J.R.R. Tolkien. The streaming service has given a multi-season commitment to LOTR series in the Pact, which also includes a potential spin-off series. I think we're going to get all of it. I think we're going to get we're going to get The Hobbit.
Right. Like, we're going to
Fellowship.
have Lord
Two
of the
Towers,
Rings, and then it's going to be
Return of the King. We're getting all of it.
Lord of the Rings, a Bilbo story.
Now, why?
Lord of the Rings, a Gimli story.
I mean, this came out when we were teenagers, and I think the movie was the first time I had ever experienced.
Wait, the book came out like...
Yeah, I'm talking the movie, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking... Yes.
Yes, the movie came out when we were teenagers.
Right.
Yes.
The actors in these movies of Peter Jackson's vision are so iconic.
Yeah.
That whoever they get, I don't know.
It's not going to be the same. I mean, I will admit that I had a slight obsession with Lord of the Rings because I was a teenager and I had all sorts of feelings for Orlando Bloom. All sorts.
You
of
were
feelings.
like, I'm attracted to him, but he doesn't really make me feel anything when he reads
Listen,
lines.
he's so beautiful. God bless his soul. Not the best actor, but that's okay. Yeah, so I would have trouble seeing anybody else as Legolas.
Really? I feel like out of the whole original cast,
He's the
anyone,
one
yeah, he's the
person.
one that
He's
would be
the
like,
one
anyone
person.
else.
Really?
Anyone else, yeah. My
Really?
neighbor's dog. Let's
No.
go. I'd love to see it.
Wow, I'm a little offended.
Well, yeah, so I guess we can expect to see this television show sometime.
I mean, it's going to take a million years to make, conservatively.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, good luck to these people at Amazon. Good luck to...
best of luck.
Best of luck to the guy who takes on Gollum. That one's just like...
Right? No, they have to get Andy Serkis to do it again
But like, why would he?
because he cares about the integrity of the character.
What if one actor was like, no, only I can play this one character. It's only me.
But it's like such a small character.
Right.
Who is the smallest character in Lord of the Rings?
Literally smallest character? Or
Oh, whoa. Should we get through the rest of our rules?
Yeah.
Okay, so rule number 1 is no movies that have already been made in the last 20 years. Rule number 2 is there's no like imaginary casting. Like we can't be like, I want this person to be played by Marilyn Monroe. She's dead. She's
have to
not
be-
working.
yeah.
She's not acting. Or even who's somebody who's like retired.
She's not even alive.
That's true. But you also can't be like Amanda Bynes. Didn't she like retire from acting?
I'm not sure if she retired. I thought she went to rehab. I thought she had like a nervous breakdown.
Tomato. So she's not working. So it just doesn't. We can't just be like, this is who
Contemporary
I hope
actors.
it would be.
As if this movie was going to be made today and released next year.
Like they could come in for a read right now. A little industry speak for you. Also, it has to be someone that you have seen their work. This is rule number 3. You have seen their work and you can vouch for their talent. It can't just be like, this isn't like Tinder. We're not just like basing it off of the way that they look.
I'm gonna definitely break this rule for this one.
Oh boy.
We'll get to it.
I almost just looked at your notes and then I stopped myself. Jack. 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 There's a boy. Jack. Jack. Cool. Are we ready to get
Let's
started?
get into Titanic.
The Titanic?
Kenna, is a woman's heart really as deep an ocean of secrets as Rose proclaims?
It's a deep ocean of secrets.
I wrote that down when I watched this movie. I was just like, what a line.
Well, can we, before we even get to the cast, just talk about our overall impressions? Like, we both watched this somewhat by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying how I feel like usually when I watch Titanic, it's with a larger group of people. And we are just all convincing each other that this is the best movie we've ever seen.
A groupthink.
And that's not true.
That's not true. That's kind of how it was when it was released. I think I was in 6th or 7th grade when this movie came out, and everyone was like, this is the greatest. Probably more females than males, but like everyone was hyping it up. And I remember watching it just being like, I guess this is what a good movie is, so I guess I like this movie. Rewatching that, I guess,
This
but
is decent.
I haven't seen it since. So when I was rewatching, I was like, man, there's a lot of slow moments.
Yes.
I mean, I won't ever speak ill will of Bill Paxton, but none of his scenes really.
Yeah.
Do you really need them?
Yeah.
Like if you just told Jack and Rose's narrative story.
True. Like, do we need old Rose as a plot device to then figure out that she still has the heart of the ocean? Because that's essentially all it is.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton is looking for the heart of the ocean, and it turns out that she has it. But is that necessary?
I don't know. I don't think so. Or maybe it was just because the old lady playing old Rose. I don't know. Like, she was next to Bill Paxton the whole time. I'm just like,
James
how?
Cameron owes her a favor.
It's like his like swim instructor who like saved his life when he was like 8. I guess my impressions of this movie were that it's extremely long.
Mm-hmm.
These actors were very young.
Oh, very young.
That's what was really hard about this recast, was that Leo was 23 and Kate Winslet was 22.
Yeah, that's young.
That's really young. Could you imagine today, like, handing over a huge, huge studio movie? And they don't really make these kind of movies anymore. Like,
no.
Like, what's that Spielberg movie that just...
The Post?
The Post. But, like, imagine if those characters were played by 20-year-olds.
Right. Yeah. No, it's insane because when we watch it now, we're like, right, the biggest stars in the world, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. But at the time, like, I don't know, unless you were watching Growing Pains, which I was, like, Leo was fresh on the scene. Kate Winslet was, like, fresh on the scene. He would have had to have found anybody, really. Like, I don't know, who were hot 20-somethings in 1997.
Well, okay, let's see this. Leo DiCaprio. I think Titanic was like his 7th major motion picture, which is crazy.
Before.
So, This Boy's Life, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Quick and the Dead, The Basketball Diaries, Total Eclipse, which I've never heard of, Romeo and Juliet, 1996, Marvin's Room, which I don't remember, also 1996, and then boom, Titanic. Apparently, I think movie trivia says that he passed up Boogie Nights to do Titanic.
Oh, interesting.
So, in the scene, we know that there's at least a Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
Leo's posse mate, Tobey Maguire.
We just call it what it is.
Not this week. So there's probably a young Matt Damon running around.
Yeah.
To recast Titanic, I don't know. I couldn't find a lot of young household name actors that were, 24, 25. I have a few.
I've reached a point where I just don't know, like, I don't know who the up-and-coming people are because I haven't been watching, like, what they've been up to, probably on TV.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see the 20-somethings.
What's also hard is that, like, Leo's trajectory doesn't happen anymore. I don't feel like. He was, like, a young child actor who did, like, a couple TV spots, and then he did a couple movies, and then he just, like, went into, like...
the stratosphere.
Superstardom.
Yeah.
I can't even...
You're trying to think of somebody whose career mirrors that today.
Yeah, because there's so much TV out there.
That's true. TV is where people want to be. It's steadier work, and some say it's better.
So tonight we're going to cast 6 characters.
Yes.
Jack.
Dawson.
Rose.
DeWitt Bukater.
Cal.
Hockley.
Molly. Do you know Molly's last name?
Brown.
Oh! Brock.
Love it.
And Captain...
Smith.
Yeah. There we go. Who wants to go first? Who wants to be...
I'll go first because I actually feel really happy with where I arrived with Jack.
I'm not. I want to tell you right now.
That's why we make such a great team.
I wrote down 1, 2, 3,
Holy
4,
cow.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What? Just for Jack?
I wrote down 10 names and I only crossed out 1. Like I up until this afternoon, I was still just like, I don't know.
Who didn't make it?
Who didn't make it?
Who got crossed out?
Dane DeHaan.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I immediately thought of Dane DeHaan because he's got a Leo look.
He looks like Leo on more drugs.
He does. He's got sad eyes. But I also crossed him off because he's what, like 33?
31.
Oh, okay. So I, in a way, feel like the person I picked, his career could mirror Leo's should he get a movie like Titanic. And the person I picked, I don't know why I'm making this such a big reveal.
Well, I think it's because it's the first.
Yeah, it feels very huge. The person I picked was Dylan O'Brien. Did he make it onto your list of 10 people?
No.
Okay.
But I did look at him.
Here's why I like Dylan. One, I think he's in his mid-20s, but could easily play late teens.
He's 26.
He's so cute. Give him a little swoopy hair. Give him a little suspenders. Give him a little 1912 flair. He'd be adorable. And I also feel like he gets a lot of... Okay, I haven't seen Teen Wolf, what I did see him in most recently was, what was that movie?
Scorched Trials. Maze
yes,
Runner.
Yes, The Maze Runner.
Yes. Love those movies, by the way.
Yes, he has got like a leading man attitude. Like I could see him taking on a big part. He's super talented, very charismatic, easy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we would fall in love with him. We just haven't seen him do something like that. Like what was he in with that movie with...
he just came out with a new movie.
The one
American
where he's like,
Assassin.
Yes, he's an assassin, which, I mean... Maybe he's just got to do what he's got to do. But I feel like he could be doing Titanic caliber movies and people would see him and they would be like, we got to give this kid more.
He was in The Internship, The Maze Runner, Scorched Trials, Deepwater Horizon, American Assassin.
Oh, Deepwater Horizon.
And then the third Maze Runner. And I guess he's going back to Teen Wolf, or I don't know if that show's still on.
I think it ended.
Yeah, all right.
You don't seem as excited about it.
I'm not excited. He doesn't draw me. Like, the reason I love Maze Runner and Scorched Trials is not because Dylan O'Brien. I love those movies because they're horrible movies.
They're awful.
They're so bad.
I have seen, how many? Are 2 out and then there's a third one coming? Okay, I've seen both of them then. And honestly, I could not tell you one single thing.
I could tell you almost every moment. Beat
That-
by beat.
And
So he arrives,
that's
interior
what
cage,
this is happening.
unknown shaft. It rises up
Wow.
as Thomas
But would you
sets his eyes on the grove,
the movie,
or the glade.
Okay. Would you say though that Dylan is a bright spot in what is utter trash? Like he does the best with what he's given.
Yeah.
It's not about him.
Yes. I mean, yeah, the girl are also both good. The
Yeah, she's
female
okay.
lead and the Asian runner.
He's great.
He's great.
He's so good.
I was just, as an Asian American, I was just glad to see
Thanks
a
for
very
clearing that up.
athletic Asian on screen. I was like, yeah, we can run. We're fast. We're fast.
Did you stand up in the middle of the theater?
No, I watched him at home, but yeah, I definitely was just like, you guys see that? You guys check him out. He's faster than Dylan. He's faster right now. And he like knows the maze too. That's also was pretty funny.
He's smart. He's quick. You've got pictures of this guy up in your
Yeah.
bedroom.
I do. No. I guess I'm going to reserve my judgment on your pick until I hear your rose.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You know, because they have to kind of
It's a chemistry thing. For sure. Okay, so
Oh my god.
which one of your 9 remaining makes the cut?
All right, I found this person today.
Okay.
Like searching, I scavenged the internet
Do you know?
for like 48 hours. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to pick. I have some interesting picks too,
Okay.
but I'm going to go with Cole Sprouse. Riverdale's Cole Sprouse.
Fascinating choice. I mean, he's so hot right now.
Very hot right now. My criteria was this. Who would I want to sketch me like one of their French girls? And I feel like the Sprouse twins, either of the Sprouse twins.
Either
Bro.
of
The
them.
thing is, the
Okay.
only reason I didn't pick Dylan is because he hasn't really done anything
Excuse me?
since like
What-
2008.
What does he have to do, Brian?
Well, I also watched this trailer for a new movie he's in called, it's not Descent. He plays like a student, like a very like straight A student who like terrorizes a teacher.
I thought that was his. Oh, you said either one of the Sprouse twins. I think it's his brother.
Yeah, Dylan is in that movie.
Yeah.
He looks so much like Leo in Titanic. He has that big swoopy blonde hair. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to just cast people who like look like Leo. I picked some Jacks that I could relate to but didn't have the look. I picked some Jacks that had the look but I could never relate to. I'm gonna land on Cole Sprouse.
You're gonna. Oh, interesting. I like the criteria of who. If you were Rose, who would your Jack be? That's not how I thought about it. But I think I might choose somebody different if I was imagining myself.
I
as
feel like
Rose.
we all would.
So wow, I'm a little thrown by the Sprouse twins. That's a very like.
Me too.
It's very.
I'm thrown as well.
You're shook.
I'm just like,
You shook yourself up.
yeah. Because, and here's why it breaks the rule, because I have not really seen their adult work,
Okay.
but I've seen Big Daddy. So it counts. Right?
I think that's an
Right?
accurate depiction of who they are as actors. It has to be. I mean, we can't even tell which one of them is which in which scenes.
It's interesting that we picked brunettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's our, like, blonde-haired, maybe that was a 90s thing.
Yeah, there's no more blonde actors anymore.
No. No.
Should we talk about what we talked about earlier today about how Jack knew, like, every step?
I was troubled. I was troubled. And I think it made me realize that Titanic is essentially James Cameron's journey to tell us how he would have survived the Titanic sinking.
But I feel like he's Cal.
Even in his...
He'd just be like, I'd pay someone to get me on a boat.
Yes. He would pick up a screaming child and be like, I'm all she has in the world. No, okay, because here's the thing. How would somebody who had not seen that, like, computer-generated thing of how the Titanic sank, how would you know that what you have to do is wait for, like, the ship to start moving up, to then move to the stern, to then hold on so that when it falls back down, you have to climb over the railing so that when it, like, how would you know?
Jack is literally the smartest physicist on Titanic.
Yes, 100%.
And even the guy who built Titanic is on the boat, isn't, like, helping people.
He isn't trying.
He's not trying.
Yeah.
As soon as he knows that it's sinking, he's just like, fuck it.
Mr. Andrews is like...
He's like, it's over. And then Rose is
sorry,
like, what's going on? He's like, don't tell anyone. But the ship is sinking.
But you gotta get out of here.
You gotta get out of here. Shh. Don't cause a panic. There's panic erupting all around. He's like, I don't want
to alarm you, but we're all gonna die.
Yeah,
It's troubling.
It is. It's really strange. That's another red flag from watching this movie again. That I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. No matter who I cast, if we had Leo and Kate back again at the height of their powers now to do this movie, I still would be like, this movie doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I mean, you could spend all day talking about logical fallacies in this movie. It's outrageous.
Do you think Kate Winslet would be like, I'm only saying Jack 3 times?
100%. I think if she had any sort of creative control, it would have been cut out immediately. That one scene where he is trying to teach her how to spit, it is abrasively mentioned. She's like, Jack, no, Jack, no.
There's a scene where
I was like,
yeah. After she breaks him out of the holding cell.
yes.
They're just like flooding down the corridor.
Yeah.
All she says is Jack. The whole time. He never says Rose, by the way. He's just like, hold on.
Here's
Climb. Give me your hand.
There are videos online of people who have counted how many times that each of their names is said. Who do you think's name was said more?
Fabricio.
Che sorry, ma vaffanculo, you bet all
I'm sorry, you're not gonna see your mom again for a long time. Cause we're going to America. Full house, boys! No! I go to America!
Fabrizio.
Who
By himself. Like in the just like, Fabrizio. By the way, we should also bring up that does not age well.
No. He is not an Italian actor. Not as if you couldn't tell that by the way he's speaking, but the fact that James Cameron gave him that direction is appalling. He sounds like Mario.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
I'm pretty sure he at one point says, like, it's a me.
No, he doesn't.
He has to.
The part where he's like swimming and the window cracks in and the water floods in, you hear a little proop, proop, proop. You do. You probably. It's in the 3D version.
It's HD.
All right, we got to move on.
Okay.
We got to move on to Rose. I'll go first, and I'm pretty confident in my Rose.
I'm somewhat interested to see if we put the same person.
I'm very
this felt
interested.
very obvious to me.
I picked Zoe Deutsch.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've seen anything with her in it, but she is everywhere. Like, I see her face constantly, but I could not tell you if I have ever seen her in a movie.
I think she's great. Oh, why him? Yeah, not the best movie, but
Did not.
she's gonna be in The Disaster Artist.
Oh, that's exciting.
She just seems like
Exciting. Vampire Academy. I haven't seen that, but
she seems like someone who could play both very delicate, like someone who comes from a very like proper delicate society.
okay.
To break out of it.
Yeah. She is very delicate. Yeah, I've got to see her in something. She was in an Ed Sheeran music video. I picked Sophie Turner.
She's on my list.
It's not just the red hair thing. I mean, that works. But I think we saw her go through extremes on Game of Thrones in a way that I was like, she can be soft and delicate, fanning herself after Cal tries to like beat her up, but then also like punching people out trying to get out of the Titanic.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I put her down for that too.
I think she could do both.
She the only thing that kept me from saying her was I thought Rose. No, you know what? She probably could do. I guess on Game of Thrones, she's like really reserved for a lot of her stuff. She's not as punchy as Rose is in Titanic, so that's the only thing. I was like, I haven't seen Sophie Turner like be kind of punchy, and
she's pretty passive in the first few seasons of Game of Thrones.
That's a hard eye roll from me. Passive, backseat.
It was like crazy eyes.
Full on back of the wheelbarrow.
But I mean, I don't want to like ruin the last season of Game of Thrones for anybody. Which I mean, if you're not current, like,
just do it.
What are you doing?
She's pretty badass in it.
I feel like in those last few episodes where we see her like stand up to Littlefinger and really take control of Winterfell, 100%. That's Rose like stepping off of the car and being like, it doesn't look any bigger than the Mauritania.
Oh yeah.
Like she's just society queen.
Yeah, I see it. Now, here's where we come back. Dylan O'Brien and Sophie Turner.
I would watch that.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I like it because I think if she is meant to be maybe a little more passive, like if that's who she is as an actress, that Dylan O'Brien is just much more commanding. And that's kind of okay.
Okay.
Like I think as characters, like he is meant to bring that out of her. And he could do that.
For sure. All right. We should probably blast through some of these because let's keep going. Cal.
Okay.
I only have like 4, but I'm going to pick one because
You picked so many. I only had like 3 for each of these.
Jack was I only have 2 for Captain Smith, and as soon as I wrote down the second person, I was like, this is it. I can't wait to get to Captain Smith.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay. You want to go for your Cal?
Okay, this one was very difficult for me. Like I wrote down several people and I was like, I guess any of these people could do it. So I'm interested to see what you found because Billy Zane embodies Cal.
He's perfect.
Like if it wasn't weird that he was supposed to be marrying like a 17-year-old, we just cast him again.
This is another thing about this movie. She's like, I don't want to marry you. You're a piece of shit. I met this like bohemian artist. I'm going to run away with him. And he's like, no, you're going to marry me. And it's like, why, dude?
It's true because her mom tells her like, we need him. We don't have any money. Your dad left us with all this debt. You have to marry him because he's going to take care of us for the rest of our lives. What? Why? Why?
He's literally chasing her around a sinking ship.
Yes.
Risking his own life because of like pride and embarrassment.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's weird.
It's true. Why didn't he just
be like, okay, peace. I'm going to New York.
I was going to give you all my money, but if you don't want it.
Yeah. Do you know how many women there are in America? Millions.
Yeah, that's a great question. Why were they in England?
He, though, Billy Zane, flawless.
Nails it.
Flawless.
Minute 1 to minute
497.
When we find out that he kills himself, tragically. Okay, so I landed on Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens. Downton Abbey's Dan Stevens?
Downton Abbey's Dan Stevens. Beauty
That's
and the Beast.
really good.
Dan Stevens. Here's the thing. He played...
Have you seen him in Legion?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
He has proven himself to be such a phenomenal actor. But I picture him in both scenarios of like Downton Abbey, height of just money and excess.
Class.
Yes. Like
he's
he
class.
Can hold himself like that. But then I also just picture him. Did you see The Guest?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you have to see that movie. Anyway, he's like a robot soldier. Like I can see him with that like darkness in his eyes.
No, you sold me.
Like he's flipping tables.
You do it. Yeah. Yes.
He's
flipping tables, shooting bullets at water.
And also, can we say in that scene, I feel like when I was younger, I did not fully understand this, but he threatens her essentially by saying, you have to have sex with me
Yeah.
or it's all over.
Yeah, well, the line was like, "You're my wife
In
in principle, if not by law," or
yes.
something like that.
It's really scary. There's
And then the maid comes in. And she's like,
Trudy, Miss Trudy.
"Yeah." She comes in. There's shattered glass everywhere. Kate Winslet basically has like a black eye, and she's like, "I'll clean it up." It's like, help this woman.
There's this odd moment where Kate Winslet's like, I'm gonna help you. It's fine. And Trudy's just like, don't do it. This is my job. She doesn't care.
Shout out to 19 teens at like society for just not helping people out.
For giving us like maids and valets. And
So many maids and valets died. So many of them are just like, I'm gonna wait with my boss.
Yeah. 100%. Well, you do. I've never realized this before, but you see her maid die. Because the only reason we know it's her is because somebody who's like holding her hand is like, Trudy, when she falls.
Oh, really?
But she makes it all the way to the part where people are like sliding down the ship as it's like about to break in half.
Oh, another moment in Titanic that we talked about earlier, which I wanted to bring back tonight. The moment where they're hanging and Rose looks to the side and she sees like a woman with her kid.
Yes.
And then she turns the other way and there's like another young woman with a man and there's like a moment of recognition.
Yes.
And I watched this moment and I was like, what if this other woman was having the same exact weekend as Rose? Like she's
right.
Like they're just like mirroring each other.
She is come aboard this ship, going to America, betrothed to some horrible monster.
Right.
And met a wild and free figure who is introducing her to love and life and everything important. And now she's
Eat, Pray, Love. It's like the two Eat, Pray, Love women found each other on the stern of the boat, and they're just like, I can't fucking believe this. Am I right? Am I right, girl? And they're like, yeah.
Look what we did. Look how we made it. Okay.
We gotta keep
We gotta
going.
blow through this. Okay. Who did you pick for Cal?
Billy Magnuson. Have you seen Ingrid Goes West?
I have. I like him as an actor a lot. I don't like him for Cal.
I don't either because your answer was too perfect that now I'm just like I don't like anyone. Dan Stevens is the right choice. Molly.
Okay. Molly Brown, the unsinkable Molly Brown. This is gonna sound a little crazy. I thought to myself, what if 20 years later, Kate Winslet came back?
Ooh.
And played
the unsinkable
Molly
Molly.
Brown.
I like it. It would get that money in. It would get that money back.
For sure. And her range, her acting range. I mean,
And Leo plays Fabrizio.
I go to America.
No, nobody plays Fabrizio. Fabrizio is not a character. Jack is alone. He has no friends. He comes from the ship. Leonardo DiCaprio. No, Leonardo DiCaprio plays that that drunk society man with the mustache that turns up.
Just like the Monopoly man.
Yeah, 100%.
He's the guy who's like, we're wearing our dress. He's like, we're going down as gentlemen, but we'd like a brandy.
Yes.
And just like walks out.
Yeah, 100%.
I picked Octavia Spencer.
Whoa.
It's not historically accurate, but
Whoa.
why not?
Let me enlighten you to a little bit of Titanic history. There were 2 African-American people on the Titanic. I believe both of them were Americans. And they were coming back, and they were both very wealthy. Otherwise, not even in steerage were there any people of color.
But in the movie, there's like a family of Muslims. Do you remember that?
What?
There's like an Arabic family in like steerage trying to translate the exit signs. And they just like pass. It's
That
really
must have
strange.
been when I took like a little nap so I could make it through the last like hour of the movie.
You, like blink and you miss them, but they're there. And you're just like, what?
Who are these people?
Brock, this one's hard. The immortal Bill Paxton.
This was my easiest one.
All right.
And I also went for for sort of an outside choice, but he seems to fit. I went with Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I love him as an actor. This is why I would say. This is why it's so hard because Bill Paxton is basically Bill Paxton in this role. Like, there's nothing really specific. I guess the things are he's a gold digger.
Yeah.
He's literally like a treasure hunter.
Yeah. Because that's a job.
Right. I don't mind it, but I don't feel like he doesn't strike me as someone who's like swarmy, you know? I haven't seen him be like swarmy.
I think he could be.
Oh, sure. He's a chameleon.
He could be anything he wants to be. Yeah, I can totally see him as all like scruffed up in his giant cable knit sweater.
Timothy Oliphant.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of remarkable. I 100%.
I went
like
full
that.
swarthy, full like pirate ship.
You went full, yeah.
Like this is a ship of rebels and renegades. And then by the end, he's just gonna be like, oh my god, the Titanic is a beautiful, horrific story. I never knew.
I do struggle with him having that like final moment with Rose's granddaughter and being like, I never let it in. Isn't that what he says?
Yeah.
I never let it in.
My whole life was the Titanic, but I never let it in. It's like
that is literally James Cameron was like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what to say because this is how I feel.
This is the story
in
of
this
me.
very moment.
That's the thing. This movie is a story of James
100%.
Cameron.
That's the reason there is this whole thing about all the equipment and the submersibles like that because James Cameron is obsessed with that.
Yes.
He loves that.
That's all this is.
And he couldn't let it go. He couldn't just make a movie in 1912 and let it go.
No.
He couldn't do it.
It wasn't interesting to him.
No.
Ugh, this fucking movie. All right.
Listen.
The last one. We're so close. We're almost there.
Do you want to go first or
No, I want you to go first.
Okay, because you're really excited.
I'm really excited.
Okay, I partially went for somebody who looked like Captain Smith in the movie.
That was my first mistake.
But I think this man is such a good actor that I was like, it kind of works out that he could be the same person.
Okay.
I went with, I'm going to say this name and you're going to be a little bit like, who? But you'll get it. I went with Liam Cunningham, who plays...
He was the first person
Really?
I wrote down, yeah. And then I wrote down my second name, and I was like,
And you were
sorry,
like,
Liam.
even better?
No, but you were absolutely right. Liam Cunningham is like the spitting image of
Bernard Hill.
Bernard Hill.
And, I mean, who doesn't love Sir Davos?
Yeah, no one.
Exactly.
Fan favorite. Okay, that's
Okay,
really
now
great.
I'm really interested in who is better.
Steve Carell.
Are you...
Yes, and here is why.
Okay, tell me. I can't wait.
Captain Smith,
Okay.
for the majority of this movie,
Yes.
he's basically a blank stare.
Yes.
So they tell him, run the ship faster. And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And they're like, fucking do it. And he's like, all right. And then they hit the iceberg. And they're, Captain, what do we do? He's like, oh, well, close the gates. He's like, well, should we evacuate the women and children? Yes, evacuate the women and children. For the rest of the movie, he's just basically a walking ghost. Now imagine a salt and pepper Steve
I'm
Carell
imagining
with a
it.
little bit of a British accent.
Oh, wow. That's a struggle.
Just walking the ship of the Titanic with that blank stare.
I'm not going to lie. I'm struggling to picture Steve Carell.
Fair enough.
Struggling.
Fair enough. When I saw him, I was just like, I just want to see a movie, like an hour of Steve Carell just walking the deck. They'd be like, the women and children, sir, should we get him on? And he's just like, like Michael Scott the whole way through, like, just like this inept boss.
Instead of Steve Carell, could it be Michael Scott?
Yeah, it's just Michael Scott as Captain Smith, just being like, and he holds like world's best boss as he goes down. Liam Cunningham, spitting image.
Spitting image.
A plus on that.
Well, we have two questions that we need to answer. The first is, so we had a discussion about somebody being in every single movie that we do.
Oh, yes.
Who did we nail down? Like, we decided, okay, if we could pick a character actor from our current time who we don't see enough of, but we would like to see just in little bit parts everywhere.
I'd like to see him. You know what I'd like to see him? I'd like to see him pepper him in a little bit more.
Let's
pepper in Barry Pepper.
Barry
in.
Pepper.
Let's
Barry Pepper.
Yeah, Barry Pepper.
Okay, so where do you envision Barry Pepper?
Well, first of all,
in
for those of
Titanic?
you who don't know who Barry Pepper is, he's in
Which-
Saving Private
you
Ryan.
might as well stop listening.
He's in The Green Mile, True Grit, There's so many others.
Literally, if you
Firestorm.
have no idea who we're talking about, just Google the picture and immediately
You'll
you're
know
gonna be
who he
like,
is.
this guy.
Who would Barry Pepper be?
I think Barry Pepper would be Cal's manservant, who is stalking Rose the entire movie.
He's just like, hey, I'm gonna hire you to stalk my fiance and like physically abuse her.
I'm sure
to keep her in line.
I'm sure he hired him for some other reason, but this is the time when, like, have you ever had a job where you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to do this, this, and this, and then when you really started doing it, it was absolutely nothing like what they said. Like this is what happened to this manservant. He was like, I'm gonna be this very rich steel tycoon's assistant.
Yeah.
And be in on all the deals, get to listen in on all the calls.
I'm gonna see
read
the
all the
skyscrapers,
materials.
ride in limousines.
It's gonna be amazing. And then he gets there, and Cal's like, "Okay, first order of business. This 17-year-old
Sit on my girlfriend.
woman. Don't take eyes off this woman.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's a good one. I was thinking more of maybe a cameo. I'm gonna give him the band leader.
Oh,
And here's the thing about the band leader. So they play the entire time the boat is sinking.
that's true.
Till the very end, and then they're like, okay, well, it was an honor serving with you fine fellows, and then like the celloist takes his cello and walks away, and then like the other celloist takes his cello and walks away, and the violist. They take their fucking instruments. Like, just drop your fucking instruments. Or the smarter
where were they taking this?
The smarter thing to do is like jump off the ship with a cello and like float on the cello.
I think you're onto something.
But instead, they like carry their instruments away, and then the violinist just keeps playing.
Because he's like, well, looks like I'm about to die.
Yeah, for some reason, like none of them really tried to like save themselves.
No.
And then they come back. And then they're all like, okay. And then you watch them one at a time come back. And then the last celloist is just like, fuck.
Well, now I can't leave. Nobody else left. So,
not the best Barry Pepper spot, but.
What if Barry Pepper was the ship's officer who gets a gun and ends up shooting?
Yeah.
And then himself.
Yeah.
That's Barry Pepper.
He throws the money back at Cal, and he's like, your money doesn't do me any good as it does you.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah, I thought so.
There's so many of them. There's the one that's like, order!
Or they got Ian, who's the guy at the end who's just like looking for survivors?
Oh, yeah, Ian Gruffud.
Ian Gruffud. Is that how you say it?
Great.
Gruffud?
I don't know.
All right.
That's going to happen a lot.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Kenna.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the first episode of The Boot.
All 100,000 of you.
Optimistic.
Think optimistically.
Optimistically. We're hoping we're going to do a couple more of these, and so I hope if you like this one, check out the others, and I'm assuming this will be on iTunes, so if there's a subscribe button, please subscribe and rate.
Brian, where can people find you on the internet if they enjoy your stylings,
my stylings? I have no
stylings.
stylings on the internet, but you can find me on Twitter at FlynnB. But there's not much stylings. It's a lot of basketball and politic retweets. Yeah, I'm not great.
Oh boy.
Same Instagram though. I have a better Instagram.
Okay, hit up the Instagram.
How about you, Kenna?
You can also find me on Twitter at Kenna Trent, all one word, all lowercase, and I guess Instagram if you're into that sort of stuff.
I think people are.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a big deal. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.